is that when you speak your authentic truth, it is going to foster deeper connections. It is going to increase your self-confidence, and it's going to cultivate an incredible life of authenticity like you've never experienced before. And I invite you to consider that small shifts add up to significant changes. It's a journey, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Power in the Pause podcast. I am your host, Wendy Page Sterling, and I am so excited that you are here with me today. And as a reminder, please hit that 5-star rating so that more people can find this podcast episode. And it would do me a huge service to be able to spread the word when you do that. So let's dive into today's episode, which has everything to do with how it is that you get to start speaking your truth today. How when we embrace authenticity in every aspect of our life and our business, transformation occurs in the most amazing and beautiful ways. And I think that this topic today is something that is hugely empowering and something that I have really been diving into head first over the last couple of months. And man, the results that I am seeing are just off the charts. So let's dive in, and let me first start out by saying and explaining to you what I mean by speaking your truth. And what I mean by that is when you speak your truth, what that says to me is that you are being honest with yourself and with everybody in your life. What that looks like is you really aligning your words with your actions and with your beliefs. So when you're speaking your truth, you're not just communicating, you're really expressing your soul and who it is that you are at your absolute core. And this authenticity is so incredibly crucial because that is what is going to build trust and credibility, not just with other people, but more importantly, dare I say, within yourself. Imagine, okay, what life would feel like and how liberating it would feel to live your life without pretense, to really be seen and accepted for who it is that you are. That, my friend, is the power of speaking your truth. And I can't tell you how many times in my life I have stopped living my truth, that I have leaned into being the version of Wendy that everyone else saw me to be. It started when I was a little girl and I started noticing that I had intuitive capabilities. I had spirit guides coming to visit me, which my family told me were imaginary friends. I would be that little girl who wanted the microphone, who had things to say, who liked to play in the mud and get dirty, and who was silenced and told to sit pretty and to be that cute little girl because that was my identity when I grew up. I am the granddaughter of Holocaust survivors on both sides of my family. And so it was all about fitting in. They wanted to live the American dream, but I had to stop calling attention to myself. And so I leaned in and became a version that they accepted, I got external validation from my family around this version of myself. And so that is who I became. And it started distancing me further and further away from my truth and from who it was that I really, at my core, was screaming to be. And I embodied that version of myself in my marriage. I embodied the version of a wife that I thought I was supposed to be. I embodied the version of Wendy that received the praise. But let's be honest, that wasn't easy either. It was exhausting. It took a lot of work. And I think that so many of us think that if we are going to speak our truth, that too is scary, that too is going to be a lot of work. But let me tell you that The fear that I possessed for 4 decades, the fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, the fear of creating ripples, the fear of not being accepted, kept me silent. And I'm sure some of you can, or many of you actually can relate. But it was something I knew I had to overcome because I felt so uncomfortable in my own skin. And so, in order to overcome this fear that I had had for 4 decades of my life, I had to start increasing my self awareness to really understand myself and what it was that caused me to default into this version of myself that wasn't my truth. And it really took not just hitting rock bottom and going through a very unexpected divorce, it also took my mother's cancer diagnosis, which wound up being terminal. It also took me leaning into a business that didn't feel authentic anymore. And it took messages from the universe coming to me multiple times over and over and over and over again in order for me to remind myself of the value of my true authentic voice, the importance of my perspective, the importance of being authentic every single moment of every single time, right? I remember that there were times where I was afraid to insert spirituality into my narrative because I thought, God, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? Are they going to think that I'm crazy? And yet all of my clients knew this part of me because I brought it into every single session that I had with them. Bringing in my intuition, bringing in my sound healing, my theta healing, bringing in oracle cards into the work that I do. And I could see how my clients benefited every single time I leaned into my authenticity. I leaned into my truth. I leaned into my intuition. And what I came to quickly realize was that this wasn't just about me. This was about showing my clients what was possible when we create space for ourselves to be authentic because it gives them the courage and the inspiration to do it for themselves. And so, really, at the end of the day, when we are being our truth, being our true selves, so much of that involves vulnerability, which is so scary for so many of us. But what I can tell you that it has done for me over multiple decades is that that vulnerability has enabled me to create deep, meaningful connections with so many different people in my life, including my children. I mean, I invite you right now, think about a moment where someone else has opened up to you about a struggle or a dream. Didn't that create a really strong bond with that person? Don't you feel like your relationship went to a new level? It created a new level of intimacy. And that's because vulnerability is what creates connection. And when we share our truth, when we share our personal stories, we're gifting others the opportunity to not just see and relate to us, but we give them the courage to do the same. You know, we live in a world today with so many superficial interactions. And so, because of that, we think that being vulnerable and authentic is scary or nobody else is doing it. So, why should I? Well, yeah, that's exactly it. Be a disruptor, be you, set yourself apart. And start fostering genuine connection with other people. Start creating safe spaces and tables where everyone that you invite to it feels valued and heard. And so think about how often in a day do you actually speak your truth? And really think about it. I'm inviting you to pause right now and to really think about it. And I want to give you some practical steps to be able to do this. Okay. Number one, gift yourself with moments of pause for self-reflection. In self-reflection, maybe that looks like journaling, maybe that looks like meditating, maybe that looks like taking a walk. Whatever will enable you to get in touch with your thoughts and to really dig deep around what your truth is. Okay? Step number two, start setting some boundaries. and asserting your needs in a respectful and loving way. It's so incredibly important for each of us to communicate what our limits are, what our desires are in a way that is going to honor you and enable you to more deeply connect with other people in your life. And my last piece of advice, my last step is think about this as baby steps, right? Start small. So begin by expressing your truth, being open and honest in more what I call like low stake situations, and gradually move to more significant ones, because what it's going to do is it's going to build confidence and it's going to build trust in yourself around this new habit of authenticity. And what you're going to start to notice is the most incredible thing, you guys, is you're going to start to see this beautiful ripple effect. Because when you speak your truth, you're not just transforming your own life, you're actually inspiring others to do the same. And what I know to be true is that your authenticity is a powerful catalyst to create ripples and change in the world. It encourages other people around you to be more open and honest, to imagine what that would feel like, right? Imagine the impact that you showing up this way, imagine the impact that's going to have on the other people in your life. Or think about how it's going to deepen relationships that you have, right? Speaking your truth is actually going to create a beautiful ripple effect that is going to lead to such enriching interactions with people. Now, here's the other thing that I want to carefully say about this is that speaking your truth does not mean that you should abandon your empathy or being tactful. So when you communicate honestly, I'm inviting you to also be thoughtful, right? Pause and be thoughtful about how your words will impact others, right? Be really mindful about statements. Use I am statements to communicate your feelings, your experiences, instead of you statements that point a finger. What that actually does is it enables you to also be an active listener, right? When we genuinely listen to others, we are showing them respect. And in turn, you will receive that back, right? Active listening is just as important as speaking your truth and being authentic. And at the end of the day, what I know to be true and what I have experienced millions of times is that when I am speaking my truth and I am being authentic, I am speaking from my heart. I am speaking from my values, my core values that enable me to really feel ease and to feel connection. And I feel myself. I think that's the best way that I can say it is I feel so incredibly comfortable in my skin. And the more authentic that I have become, the more I understand myself, the easier it becomes to be me. And I invite you to just remember this. This is an ongoing journey. Okay. I don't sit here and say, like, oh, I'm this every moment of every day. No, that's not realistic, right? It's a practice, right? As I continue to transform and grow and evolve, so does my truth. So does who it is that I am. So I invite you at the same time to really embrace the evolution, to embrace this transformational process, because as you grow and shift, so will who it is that you are. You know, who I was 7 years ago when I got divorced is not the same version of me that I am today. The person that I was before my mom passed away and who I was while she was fighting cancer is not the same person that I am today. And so I invite you to just remember that as you continue to evolve and to grow, that your words and your actions and your purpose is going to shift, as are your values. And so how it is that you're showing up authentically will as well. So to kind of wrap everything up, what I want to leave you guys with is this, is that when you speak your authentic truth, it is going to foster deeper connections. It is going to increase your self-confidence, and it's going to cultivate an incredible life of authenticity like you've never experienced before. And I invite you to consider that small shifts add up to significant changes. It's a journey, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I invite you to take those baby steps of really stepping into who it is that you are, aligning your words, your actions, your feelings, your sensations with your true selves, because that is the most empowering path that you can take starting today. So I challenge you to take a step towards speaking your truth today, because the world is waiting. Your clients are waiting for you. The people in your life are waiting for your voice. They're waiting for you to build that table so that they can sit down and have a conversation with you at it. So thank you guys so much for joining me in today's episode and really understanding the power of speaking your truth and the power of authenticity. So I invite you, until our next episode, to really stay true to yourself, keep embracing the power of your voice and embracing it through the power of the pause. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Power in the Pause podcast today. Thank you so much. I love sharing my thoughts and my wisdom with you guys. If you think that somebody could benefit from embracing their authentic self, I invite you to share this episode with them. And don't forget to hit subscribe so that you get more insights from me about how it is that you can start leveraging the power in the pause. I am Wendy Page Sterling, and I appreciate you guys being here, sending you so much love and light always. Mwah. Bye, everybody.